How's it going, trainers? Coming at you with my favorite Manaphy deck in Pokemon Pocket right now. We've obviously got Palkia and a singleton copy of Articuno EX, but most importantly, we're playing the full Blastoise EX lines in this shell. I absolutely love Blastoise as a payoff for Manaphy. It's one where if your Manaphy gets run down quickly, you have a 3 energy attack to start chunking people right away. But if your opponent's dirtling behind a Druddigon or a Kangaskhan and you have time to get set up, you can get your Blastoise charged up to 5 energy, and 160 is such a good breakpoint in our current metagame. It clears Executor EXs in a single shot, and it wipes out Darkrai's and Magnezones even if they're wearing a giant cape. I played this deck list for today's games through a tournament off stream where I had a 6-4 finish, so nothing groundbreaking, but also pretty solid. You're going to see me go toe-to-toe and be successful against all of the big decks in the format. This deck list has a ton of fun, interesting, intricate games, and then it's also a Misty deck, so you also have some freebies that take off some mental load and just give you a win on the spot when you roll a little bit high. If you enjoy the games, smash the like button, and let me know in a comment down below if you enjoy this more focused gameplay without chat being a constant distraction. For the rest of the day, enjoy my favorite Manaphy build. We're playing against Darkrai Magnezone this round. First energy advantage seems like it's probably relatively important in this matchup. Full Blastoise line is nice, but noteworthy lead Squirtle is not. It's going to get damage marked on it from a Darkrai, and then they're going to be able to drag it back up with Cyrus potentially later. Magnemite can also just crack it for 30 here, potentially. A Misty with the heads would be nice. Oh, second Squirtle. That's not bad. It might just be a give up the lead turtle angle, honestly. No copies of Dawn, notably in the opponent's deck, so we don't have to worry about them putting an energy on the Darkrai and then pushing it up to here. Let's go ahead and try and Misty our bench turtle. If this hits even a single heads, it's a big deal. Single heads there would have let Blastoise hit for 100 next turn, which would have let us clear this out and would have effectively taken back that first energy advantage that we missed this game. So I assume Squirtle's going down here. It's going to give up our first point. They're Sabrinaing me. Interesting. So I think I just give them the Palkia. They have one Sabrina and one Cyrus. So we take 50 here. And then I think I pause for a turn on energy on the Blastoise. And I want to put damage here. Well, let's go ahead and try for Misty again, I suppose. It's not bad. I think we go ahead and just pressure them with this, because if they evolve into the Magnemite next turn, or the Magneton next turn, they notably cannot attack the Palkia again. And if they don't evolve, I can pick a knockout point up here and put another energy on this, and then we're one off of this being able to clear. Although it's noteworthy if we have to give up this Palkia, a Cyrus on this Squirtle could spell death if they get this going. So if they evolve into Magneton here, we'll go second energy on Palkia and then pivot it out. So what's the line from here? I think we do this. So if let's assume they have Cyrus. If they have Cyrus, I hit this. If they have Cyrus, I hit this. And then they put this up, put an energy on it. But if they put an energy on here, they're not putting an energy on here, right? Meaning they can't kill this next turn without putting the Darkrai up. And if they put the Darkrai up, they lose to Blastoise, and they don't have a window to Cyrus us. So the only way they can kill this next turn is with a copy of... If they kill this next turn, they can't attack with this the following turn. Is that how that works? No, if they can't kill this next turn without putting the Darkrai up. Yeah. Okay. Just gotta get through this before we run out of time. So they can't without Dawn, they can't kill this without putting Darkrai up. And if they put Darkrai up, the Blastoise wins the game because it's ready to deal 160. And if they do this, and they put an energy on here or put an energy on here, they don't kill this, and then next turn I put second energy, retreat this back to Blastoise, Blastoise clears this, and then we're ready to clear anything else they have for that last knockout point. So they're just hoping I don't have Blastoise, and it's checkmate when we do. Because nothing in their deck, even with Cape, survives Blastoise dealing 160. This game's a good example of why I really like Blastoise, and it's why it's better than Gyarados in a deck like this. Being able to attack on your way on up to building up your big swing is huge. And the way this game's navigated now, they have no knockout points, so Cyrus doesn't get us, because no matter which one they pull up to clear, we're still going to be able to get them. They can notably Cyrus up the Palkia and then not kill it, and I'd have to draw Leaf in order to win the game, but they don't have a way that converts into a win from there, I don't think. Because they don't have a second Cyrus. Yeah, they're just dead. Alright, open for first energy and a Manaphy lead. Although, as that last game showed, I think the most important thing is a Blastoise online in this matchup. It's definitely our best payoff by a significant margin. Alright, and they do have a copy of Sabrina, and there's no Mars or red card, so... When there's no Mars or red card and they have Sabrina, I want to make sure I hold my extra basics till my turn so they can't tempo me off of this Manaphy lead. Because if I were to play this Articuno out and they Sabrina me, I would be pretty far behind. And again, this is one of those spots where if you're playing on the random queue where you're not playing open deck list, you should play the Articuno out because Sabrina's not super popular. And playing around a potential Mars or red card is good value, but here, where there's perfect information, I can go ahead and make this decision. Looking for Squirtle here, ideally. That's a redraw. Guaranteed Squirtle or Palkia. I would prefer Squirtle. Okay. This is going to be one of those games where I'm guaranteed to get 2 Manaphy activations because there's no Dawn in their deck. We will, Did I play this other Manaphy out? I think I'm going to play the other Manaphy out. It's good against Sabrina. I don't want to let them mark damage on either of these. It's one of those spots where a single Misty Heads would put us really far ahead. So, I mean, I could pivot the Articuno in and clear the Magnemite. Swing and a miss. We go ahead and put... I want to actually put the energy on the Articuno here because their Darkrai is going to go ahead and clear this with its trigger next turn, and then I'm going to want to put up Manaphy to let them mark damage on that as opposed to marking damage on my Squirtle or my Articuno. And I need to make sure I have 3 energy on here, so that way after I put this up, I can put an energy on here and then retreat and still do my 80 damage attack. I wonder if there's ever a world where I'm supposed to pivot to the other Manaphy this turn to force them to leave the Magnemite up, because now they can pull the Magnemite out and put the Druddigon up, and then I'm in kind of a medium spot. Yeah, I think perhaps that was the correct line. Shuffle these to kind of force the Memnite off the board. Because now I bet we see them pull back to the Druddigon. Feel like them giving this up is really good for us. It is noteworthy that they have one knockout point, so a clear on any of my EXs lets them win the game from here. I feel like that's really good for me. I don't have to play around Osiris on my EX Pokemon now. And the second knockout point, I mean, I guess I can't activate Manaphy now, but that's kind of what the Manaphy was there for, was to give up another point eventually. They do have a copy of Sabrina noteworthy, so I want to play out some more bench Pokemon to have options to play around that, but... feel like I want to do this. I'll play this out too. And I think I take this hit here, so that way I have the option to Palkia, pick up the second knockout point next turn. They have one Giant Cape in their deck, so their Druddigon, or their Darkrai could realistically be a bit higher than it is now. They can't clear the Articuno this turn, but it's going to be noteworthy that I'm going to need to pull it out next turn. Now, the real question here is, do I leaf this Articuno out or not? Well, I mean, that could always win the game on the spot, yes. And we'll go ahead and be done making decisions here. Thank you, Misty. Appreciate your service. We're having a close back and forth, and then our gal showed up to close the door cleanly for us. Good night. We are playing against Darkrai Greninja this round. Race to our stage 2 is definitely going to be a part of it. Their Greninja versus my Blastoise. Ideally, we want to lead Manaphy here. So missing on that's a little unfortunate. Okay. That's not bad. We are certainly not attacking with the Squirtle here. Second Squirtle could potentially be very reasonable for us. I think there's a chance this is a matchup where I want to build two Squirtles. I think Articuno is worse than Druddigon here for sure. I'm gonna go ahead and Misty this Squirtle a bunch, because if we hit even one heads, we'll swap back to the Manaphy here. We do this and just get our blue boys charging up here, I think. No Froakie from them to start is good for us. whatever. Obviously going to be at the mercy of some War Turtles here, but is what it is. Manaphy should live to activate 3 times. Would love to find a Palkia if we don't find a War Turtle. That is not a very good draw for the home team. I'm going to go ahead and build up 1 Squirtle primarily to start because, while it's a little bit worse against Greninja, it means that if I draw a Palkia, I can focus on charging that up. Our best draw, obviously, is a Professor's Research. They had one of those and we didn't, which means we're a bit behind. I think if we had a fast Palkia here, we would have also been okay. Articuno just doesn't cut through the Druddigon fast enough. I guess there's a chance because I had the Misty, maybe I was supposed to lead on Articuno. I would have been attacking with it on the 2nd turn, but that still feels like it probably would have been slow. Oh, they're just gonna clear the Manaphy this turn. That's smart. All right, well, Squirtle with the 2 energies up it is. That kind of means we need War Turtle this turn, yeah. Yikes. Am I? No, I think I'm actually just water gunning them. Because if I put the Manaphy up, the Frogadier attack plus this clears the Manaphy. I actually shouldn't have played the Manaphy out. It's really bad into their Greninja. That's the 0-outer at this point. First energy advantage is good for us, so we can have Manaphy and something to pay off with it. We have the whole Blastoise line here, and I have Leaf. If they don't pivot off the Darkrai, oh, they have a helmet. I was saying, if they don't pivot off the Darkrai, we actually curve out really nicely. We do 20, 40, 100, 1, 2, 3 up the curve. What's the breakpoint here? I put an energy on Squirtle. They hit me for 20. I put energy on War Turtle. I hit them for 40. I go down to 40. They put energy on here. They hit me to 20. And then I put evolve into this. I think I stay in. I think it's energy pass. Okay, they have no potions. So I think it's energy pass and then War Turtle crack you. Yep. Take our hands, turn into 3 random ones. Okay. Always feels bad when the person playing a terrible card gets paid off a little bit for it. That's a good reward potentially. They chose not to play their basic out, so it must have been a Druddigon or another Darkrai, yeah? I think at this point I charge these 2 up. Because they're not going to kill this next turn. And then I get to go energy here, charge these 2, and then if they kill this, the Palkia is ready to clean them up. And their deck notably can't attack with anything other than Darkrai. They have no water energy and no fire energy. You could see them retreat here or leap off of it, though. So they're not in a rush. So it's definitely this. And then I think it's War Turtle here. And now I think I put an energy here, because if they have Cyrus to pull this up, the Palkia gets to clear this, and then I don't know how they recover from there. That's tough. I think I want the option to go into Blastoise if they don't. Because I think there's a good chance they retreat the Darkrai this turn. If they retreat the Darkrai this turn, I want to... Oh, this means they can pivot into the Frogadier again, though, yeah? Okay, they're just doing into that. That's fine. And now this means I can go ahead and power up all my backline stuff here. So I get another Manaphy activation now. Now I go energy on Palkia, and then Palkia threatens to cannon them twice. Does that work? Do I want... I can on a Pokemon Communication to see if we get the Blastoise. That can kind of help me make my decision here, I think. We did not. Okay. So the Miss Blastoise means I'm going to go energy here, and then I'm going to go ahead and do this. Which lets me put energy here. And energy here means my Palkia is ready to 150 twice in a row now. So now I'm going to put War Turtle up, because it means if I top deck Blastoise, I can put energy on it and clear the Druddigon. And it means if I don't top deck Blastoise, we just pivot to the Palkia. I don't think so. Although I suppose... Was I supposed to put the Palkia up and then leaf... Maybe I was supposed to put the Palkia up and then leaf out of it if I drew the Blastoise. Because I actually can't stay in with the Palkia this turn now, right? Okay, is that checkmate? I think that's checkmate. So I go energy here, leaf this out, and then War Turtle picks up this knockout point, and then my Palkia is good to clear anything they could do next turn. And I'm on 2 points. And they can't Cyrus me and kill something. I guess if they have Cyrus, we draw. Which I think is better than the loss I'm going to take otherwise. There's Blastoise. So can I win this game? They don't have another Cyrus. They're infinite off of anything else. I put the Blastoise in. The Blastoise goes to 140. Next turn, they switch. Okay, so if I X speed out the Palkia, or sorry, if I leaf out the Palkia, then next turn if they put this Darkrai up, I can clear it with Dimensional Storm. And they've already played their only Cyrus. I'll play out this Manaphy to play around a copy of Sabrina, because they only have 1 point. So I could have attacked with the Palkia and taken a draw, because we would both have 3 points and we both have a bench. But I believe with them not having another copy of Cyrus and not threatening a Greninja, we're checkmate once I take this line here with the Blastoise. Because now they pivot to this, but then this still has this ready to go for 150. Cool. Very, very tightly navigated game on our part. That was a sweet one. Missing first energy advantage. Sad. Worst possible start? Worst possible start. Dig person basics here. I think I'm just going to go ahead and research to make it appealing to Mars me, because my hand's only okay. I have so many Leafs and Misties that I really can't afford to sit on research in this deck, I don't think. I'm missing my stage 1 either way. So they want to fire it off and get some card advantage. More power to them. We'll see if we can high roll Misty a little bit here and take first energy advantage back would be a big deal. We clear the frog this turn, there's a good chance the game ends on the spot. But otherwise, we're pretty far behind, I think. I guess we could hit War Turtle and be okay. I'm gonna go for the Articuno. I'd never forgive myself if we hit 2 on the what's it called? Yeah, cool. This is why you play the card, gamers. Take your freebies where you can get them. Long, hard-fought, interesting game with ton of decisions. And that first one, quick, brutal. We completely deleted all your hopes and ambitions in the second. With the copy of Leaf here, we're insulated against their one Sabrina really nicely. I'm going to put the... No, they can't Mars me this turn. I'm going to put the War Turtle up. So that way... Well, I guess I am actually supposed to put the War Turtle up here. Because if they have their Cyrus as well, they can tempo me back to the Palkia. By giving them damage marked on it is an interesting note. Maybe I'm actually supposed to put the energy on Palkia this turn. Yeah, I think that's a mistake. Might be throwing here. So if I put the energy on Palkia, it doesn't matter if they have Cyrus. Yeah, I threw. Regardless of if they have Cyrus, I made a mistake. We might win the game here still. But it's worth noting that I made a mistake. That's one of those things you got to be thinking about. Just because you win or lose doesn't mean you made all the right choices. I gave my opponent an out to be able to win this game with the choices that I made. Okay, and then from here, we can correct the mistake I made last turn and put an energy on the Palkia. So that way, if they pull it up, I can still pivot back to the Articuno and get them. But then this should be checkmate at this point, because they kill the Articuno with either of these. That's not winning the game for them, and then Blastoise finishes for 100. And if they pull this up, they're not killing the Articuno, and then I can put another energy on here and swap it, and the Articuno finishes. They have no sustain in their deck. Playing against an interesting build of Executor this round. They notably only have 3 basics, 2 Execute, and then a Celebi EX, but they're only playing a single Executor EX, and then 1 Baby Executor as well. I wonder if that's a conscious choice or maybe a budget consideration. Manaphy lead is ideal, but them having First energy advantage is not. If they have their Executor, they won't even need to flip heads to clear this on the first turn. Definitely double Pokeball into research here. We're going to have plenty of basics, and ideally, we want to find our way into Squirtle plus some evolutions here. Second Manaphy might be very reasonable. This could realistically be a game where we go Manaphy into no copies of Mars, no copies of Red Card, 1 copy of Sabrina, and I don't have a Leaf, so we actually want to make sure we don't play a second basic out here, because if I play a second basic out and they Sabrina me, I actually get tempoed really hard. I think next turn the play is second Manaphy, Squirtle, and Palkia. I'm going to be a turn behind on evolving because I didn't play out a basic this turn, but this game's going to be Manaphy into Manaphy, so that's fine. We're not going to need Blastoise for a little bit either way. The Manaphy, interesting. So they have 2 copies of Leaf in their deck, so they could pivot to the Celebi. I guess the Celebi with 2 coins on it threatens this next turn. That does kind of punish me a little bit for not playing out the Squirtle sooner. So let's do this, and then let's do this. So if they Leaf here and attack with the Celebi, they get to pressure the Manaphy. And average variance would be kind of bad for me. We could just see them put a coin, an energy on this Celebi every turn for the rest of the game and have it end up being kind of mediocre for me. Nope, we're down. Okay. They have 2 copies of Erica and 2 potions, of course, so I really kind of need to be able to clear this Celebi in one. I'm going to put this here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to charge these up. I suppose my line here is Blastoise with a 3rd energy hits this for 100 twice, and 100 twice clears it through an Erica, but it doesn't clear it through Erica or Cape or Erica or Potion. Gets them to 210. It's a shame I'm one energy short on this Palkia of being able to just clean it out with that. If we top deck Misty and then hit heads, we're 1 in 3 to draw Misty, and then we're 1 in 3 to draw Misty, and then we're 1 in 2, so we're 1 in 6 to be able to clear with Palkia next turn. I think I put the Palkia up for the 1 in 6, and if we brick the Misty, we just hit them for 30 and power the Blastoise, then plan to pivot around, because then we have another chance at the Misty the following turn to put the Blastoise to 5 energy to be able to one-shot things. Okay, there's the Misty. Okay. That's the kind of high roll we're looking for. So we put this up to play around... what's it called? I don't think Dimensional Storming 2 turns in a row is worthwhile here. I think it's this into clear this turn. I think I'm playing out more basics for the sake of playing around Sabrina long term, because I can't have anything else die anyway, so I just want the most options on the bench, I think. Although it's very possible I want to save this to build up another Blastoise. So maybe we hold that for the time being. Could fish a War Turtle for us. So the scary line here is they hit heads, and then the scary line is they hit heads, and then they have Cyrus and hit heads again. Could get us. So there are only... If this hits tails, I think we're relatively home free. It hits heads, so we've got some tension. 1 Cyrus in 7 cards here. Another Misty Heads wins the game on the spot. That'll do, pig. That'll do. She's a lovely lady. Sometimes lucky, rubber ducky. We were behind because they had first energy advantage, and then Misty just very cleanly and kindly caught us up. One of the lovely parts about Blastoise, it is a fine card to attack on curve, but also a Misty payoff. First energy advantage is solid for us. Can we open a Manaphy? No Manaphy on the open, but Palkia with the full Blastoise line is pretty solid to start here. And they're opening Celebi, which I think is also good for us. It's definitely a bit of a low roll from them. Let's see if they can find their way. They could find their way into like egg, tree. They can find their way into like egg, tree, and leaf for sure. This is guaranteed to be an egg. We kind of want another basic in order to play around their copy of... what's it called? Sabrina. Just make all their... They have 2 potions and 2 Ericas. I think I'm just going to power the Squirtle up. Oh, you know, I wonder if I'm supposed to play out the other Manaphy, so that way if they force this up and knock it out, I can put the other one up after. It's one of those games. One of those matches. Definitely not a good one for the opponent. That's the power of playing the blue cheese. I love a good blue cheese. Complements any salad. So if we hit Leaf next turn, I think that's checkmate. I guess they could have Big Egg Tree plus Cape here. So they have to heal here, otherwise Blastoise just clears them with energy on Palkia to retreat. So Misty Heads or Leaf lets us take this game and close it out. We're still favored even without those things, especially against that. Yeah, there's the copy of Leaf, so we're all done here. Having a powerful draw in your deck is really, really good, turns out. Quick and relatively easy round for us, just on the strength of our cards being good. So they can live a turn with Executor EX plus a Giant Cape, but they're just dead in 2. They can't heal enough to live 2 160 cracks. Play against the fairly stock Charizard list. These decks are notably only playing a 2 Pokemon lines this season, just the Charizard and the Moltres. They have 2 communication to help find their stage 2 as consistently as possible. We're guaranteed to find something that turns into a payoff with this Pokeball for our Manaphy. First energy advantage is pretty good here. I think ideally we find Palkia on the first turn. So that way we can get that charged up and clean this Moltres out. Our best possible draw is a different basic and then another basic with the Pokeball. So this is great. We'll get to charge 2 things here. Palkia is what we're looking for, and I think my next best is probably a Squirtle to work up towards, but notable we don't have any evolutions for that either. Double Palkia it is. So the way this permutation works out, we go charge both of these, and then next turn we go attach energy, charge, and then the following turn we attack for 150. Which the way that back and forth works out, they'll get 2 activations with Moltres, start 2 activation with this before we clear it. So on average, they get 3 energy. And then we'll see if they can have their Charizard on time on top of it. If they get to a point where Charizard can blast twice in a row, we're probably in a little bit of trouble without a Blastoise here. Because without Blastoise building up in the back, we can't one-hit KO Charizard. They notably have 2 potions and a cape here as well. If they brick on Charmeleon next turn, it's probably the game in our favor, but we'll need them to brick on the Charmeleon or the Charizard for a turn, and they're obviously on 2 communication. They're through over half their deck at this point. Yep. So if they hit even a single heads on this Moltres, they'll be able to... if they hit even a single heads on the Moltres, they'll be able to blast with Charizard twice in a row. Cape on the Moltres lets them survive the Palkia hit. Alright, full set of tails here. Means this can't charge up and crack twice, which is nice. Misty on this other Palkia that's lower. Swing and a miss. I think we're just in trouble. This matchup doesn't seem very good. Maybe if I like have a Blastoise and they don't have the cape for their Charizard, we can get charged up and go, but without Blastoise, it feels like we're at a disadvantage here. It's one of their 2 copies of Potion. I think we're just checkmated from here. Because I clear this, they put energy here. Even if they brick on all their Moltres coins, they have 4, which means they go up to 5, down to 3. Palkia lead is not ideal, although I suppose we do have a Leaf and a Pokeball here. They have their ideal lead. We have first energy advantage again, which is definitely a tick up in this matchup, but I think the matchup's probably favorable enough for them that it's one of a few things we need to go right. Okay. I communication here before I decide what to do for my supporter. If we find another basic, we'll probably pivot to the Manaphy. Yeah, okay. So, they don't have a Charmander out yet, but it's worth noting that they have basically 4 copies of it in their deck now with 2 Pokeballs guaranteed to find it. But they can't evolve it next turn at least, which is nice. So they're 2 turns off of Charizard doing stuff, but I also need time to build stuff up with Manaphy here. They brick on Charmander again, that's a big deal. It's the kind of delay we need. Misty the Palkia. Let's go ahead and do this if they want to, they want to switch into this with X speed or a leaf and knock this out, then this Palkia clears this and they have like no energy left on the board. So depending on decent chance this could be a Charmander here. At least 2 of those in their deck. It's at worst 40%. Wow, they missed again. It's a good beat. Yeah, I'm a little surprised they're taking this exchange. There's no Giovanni's in their deck, so they always need. Oh, they have this. Okay, sure. Okay, just put up Articuno then. This forces them to potion next turn or be dead to this. We'll play a Squirtle out here, but we do have a Pokemon Communication in our deck, so we're not playing out a second. They do have 2 copies of Potion, and they notably haven't had Research, Pokeball, or Charmander in their deck, so good chance that there's at least a Potion lurking. I think that's checkmate for us, yeah? The Articuno clears this, and then Palkia is charged up and ready to go to clear whatever else they do the following turn. They only have 1 cape in their deck, so they don't have another way to get anything to survive a Dimensional Storm next turn. I mean, I guess I'll do this for posterity's sake, but yeah, okay. Opponent understands his checkmate. First energy advantage again. It's a good beat for us. Like I said, I'm not sure that just first energy advantage is enough here. If their draw is reasonable or average, that is not a reasonable start for them, but they have a lot of redraws here. They notably play 2 X speeds and a leaf, so they have a lot of ways to shuffle this Charmander back out of the active spot. They've been very good at having research early. We're hoping to draw a Palkia or an Articuno here, or research into that plus something else. Unfortunately, I think it would be a mistake to... attack with the Squirtle here. Although I suppose if they're bricked... it's real good. And with that hit, I gotta take the aggressive line now. If they're bricked, they lose the game on the spot. Unlikely that they're bricked. They could have basics and be holding them because they know I can't punish them. But if we run off War Turtle into Blastoise here, the Blastoise actually hits for 160 on curve here. And marking damage on the Charmander means we get it to a point where... marking damage on the Charmander means we get it to a point where it dies to the big Blastoise shot. That's a research for us. Can I have Angsty Teenage Turtle? That is the game. We are running them down. And that's a reason to play a Misty deck, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. It's also a reason to play more than 4 basics in your decks. It's been interesting to me to see everybody on Charizard with the 4 basics, but you really just need a backup plan for when your ideal stuff doesn't come together. We obviously have a little bit of a high roll here, but their deck's constructed in a way that they're going to low roll with some consistency like this. Once we clear this and we have our big boy blue here, the game is very done. Charizard games are never particularly compelling. One way or the other, win or lose, but we get the win there.